I can't even look at you without laughing, bro.
Try to work on being smiley.
Yeah, try to just connect. All right. Let me try this one more time. That's probably already going to go in the intro, knowing Keanu, who's editing this. But guys, today's guest is my best friend. We have known each other for 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, I think
probably four or so. And now we get to work together every day, which is a total blast. So I have to introduce Danny Garcia. Like I said, incredible friend and also an amazing creative. So Danny, thanks for being on the team and thanks for being on the pod today, bro.
Dude. I feel like I've got so many random jokes and stuff like that where I'm like, I don't want to go on these random tangents.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Do I need to say knock knock? Like, how do you want to kick off your first joke?
We can start off like that. I've got a list of dad jokes. They're pretty good.
I expect to see them throughout
Sometimes
the
they go a little
podcast.
extreme, so I'll try to contain myself a
Yes,
little bit.
this is all age type of podcast.
Yeah, so Keanu, if you could make sure to edit any of those out just in case I say something.
Might have to bleep out a few expletives, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Danny's a passionate guy, as you guys are going to be seeing throughout the podcast. So, dude, Danny, talk a little bit about, who you are, introduce kind of what your role is here at FilmLaab, and then let's talk about how you even got into this creative industry, because you didn't start in this.
No. Well, obviously, I'm Danny, and from Boise, good old Boise, Idaho. Love Boise.
Utah's better, but yeah, keep going.
Definitely not. This is probably one of the biggest disagreements we have. I really think about it. Like, you and I don't disagree on a lot of different things.
But you dog on
things,
Utah,
but
and
Utah, I'm like,
I take the gloves off.
I'm like, this is a bad thing about Utah. You're like, nope. And you could definitely agree with it, but because I'm saying something about Utah, you're like, no, it's perfect.
I just don't want to reinforce the idea that you should move back to Idaho. That's what I'm really getting at. Don't move back to Idaho.
Open a different branch out there. You move out there. It's perfect.
FilmLaab Boise. Sounds sick. I think we'll go LA or Austin or New York before then, but
Boise's
coming.
All right,
we got
cool.
some HVAC homies we might, meet this summer.
That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to
Wickstrom. Yeah. Ty Wickstrom, my boy.
See you guys soon. All right, dude. So yeah, obviously, from Idaho, but you used to be a cop.
Yeah.
So just quickly talk about how did you make that transition, getting into creative? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah. So creatively, I've loved the creative world. I've loved making videos. Like growing up, I always had the camera, the home movie camera. Mm-hmm. It was always making different videos and stuff like that with my friends. And my parents thought that was cool and all, but they're like, but you need a real job. That's what they told me. It was, you won't be able to do this consistently if you find a little money here and there. So my dad, he was in law enforcement. And so decided to join the family business and get into law enforcement.
Yeah. So you won't make money being a filmmaker, so you should get a job where people shoot at you.
And you don't make a lot of money. But yeah, so at the time I was married, and so I needed something steady, and there was good benefits. I loved being a cop. It was fun. But later on in life, I ended up getting divorced. And when I got divorced, I saw I had other friends that were in the film industry, and I kind of wanted to do that. So I was like, I'm not taking care of anyone. I don't have kids. So I decided to pursue that. That's kind of the long story short, where get divorced and have this opportunity where I can just focus on myself. And if I don't make it, I can go right back into law enforcement.
Right.
So yeah, I ended up selling my home, quitting my career in law enforcement, moving out to Utah. I don't know why Utah, but it's like in my mind, I was like, oh, there's other filmmakers there. I will be able to connect with them and network. And yeah, so I moved out to Utah, and now I'm here.
Dude, Utah, the land of milk and honey, the land of buttery footage.
The land of terrible traffic and drivers.
Yeah, I-15's tough. But yeah, so obviously you moved out here, which is cool. And we met pretty shortly thereafter playing Call of Duty. Shout out Spencer for introducing us and pulling us into each other's party. But playing Call of Duty, we talked online. Won't even go into that story right now because I look silly. But we were able to, over the course of a couple years, kind of rub shoulders, be friends, associate with a lot of people in the same creative space, and then there started being kind of like opportunities where we were able to kind of work together and start building more of a creative relationship. And why, guys, I want to kind of go into this part of the story is Danny is now like my right-hand man. We're both directors here at FilmLaab. We do a lot of pre-production together. And so most of the creative projects that you see come out of FilmLaab, one of us directed it. The other one was probably at least involved in as a first AD or some point in the creative process. So, walking through our relationship and the creative like journey you've gone on, I think is really important.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty funny because when we had talked, obviously, from the beginning through Call of Duty, so it was just we were in a group text, and that's really how it was. It was just a bunch of guys that were in a group text saying, "Hey, who's online? Who wants to play?" And we just make squads like that.
And you were always down. Which
I was always
loved.
down. Yeah, I was single. I was always down. So at the time, I was second shooting for Sam Hansen, and we went to Denver, Colorado, to go shoot a wedding. And so at the time, that's what I was kind of into, was the wedding industry. And when I was there, you had sent a message saying something about, I think it was originally you were saying, "Hey, who wants to hop online?" And I said, "Oh, I can't. I'm in Denver, Colorado this weekend."
That's right.
And then you sent me a message right after that saying, "Hey, how long are you going to be there for?" And I think it was, the wedding was on a Friday and I was supposed to leave Saturday morning. And you're like, "Well, dude, if you end up changing your mind, we are shooting a concert Saturday night." And
in Denver, Colorado.
And at the time, I had seen your stuff, and I was like, "Man, I would love to be able to shoot with you. I'd love to actually network with you in person and connect with you," just because I felt like we vibed really well through our texting or Call of Duty stuff. And so I ended up saying, "Hey, let me call you right back." As soon as I get off the phone, I freaking go onto my Delta app and I start canceling my flight, buying a brand new flight, which I think cost more than it was for there and back. But I was like, dude, I need to make sure that I'm talking with everyone. That was like my biggest phrase at the very beginning was, "I'm always down." I didn't care what the pay was. I didn't care if I was doing it for free, if I had to pay my way to get somewhere. I needed to make sure that I was learning and gaining all this experience. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people miss, is the gaining the knowledge and the experience. Even if they've had a couple jobs that maybe been successful, I think people get their head blows up too quickly, where they're like, or they get too big of an ego where they're like, "Oh, I need to be paid a lot of money already."
Right.
Like for me, it's like, I feel like I was doing okay with networking and with shooting weddings and stuff, but I wanted to get out of weddings. And this was a great opportunity. I wanted to be able to go shoot with you. It was going to be at the Red Rocks. And then, I was losing money, and you said, "Hey man, we won't be able to pay you, but if you stayed later, you can come shoot with us.
I've got an extra pass.
You got an extra pass." Yeah, that's what it was. So, anyways, we went and shot that, and I had a blast.
So fun.
I
won't tell why you had
my
so
footage
much fun.
looked amazing. It looked so good that I was so hyped to ask you about it, and you told me, I can tell you're a wedding videographer. And
and I didn't know that would crush your soul, dude. Like I said that, and I was just being honest, because not to call you out, but Danny's like going up to the DJ table and like rotating around the DJ mixer stuff and like getting detail shots.
Oh, I'm getting all the detail shots in slow
at like an 85
and,
1.4. And then you have me handheld, like jumping and like zooming and trying to bring all this crazy energy and stuff.
No, I mean, like,
it's just different.
No, but I mean, the thing that I loved about that too is it was some weird thing. Like for you, you're like, I don't know how to like break it to you, but it's not the right style. And to me, I'm like, well, I can shoot weddings, so I can shoot anything. Like,
right.
And I didn't understand that there's like that different style. I'm like, no, this is clean and crisp. And you're like, yeah, but it doesn't fit the style. Like, how do I hype this up right here?
You know who actually taught me that? So the first time I shot a legit concert was DOS Energy in 2017. And I found out that there's this guy named Branson Bowler who was also trying to shoot for the same artist I was. And so we reached out on Instagram. We started talking, and I was like, if I get the gig, I'll bring you on to help me shoot it. If you get the gig, you bring me on to help shoot it. And we went and shot it. And I was doing the same thing. I had my glide cam, and I'm like behind the person. I'm like pushing in. I'm like rotating around and doing all this stuff. And then Branson's there. He's on like a 12 millimeter lens, just throwing his camera everywhere, being crazy because he used to film these college parties.
Yeah.
And he shows me his footage, and it was wild. The energy was awesome. And I was like, oh, I guess this perfectly smooth footage isn't the move. Maybe being handheld, maybe showing more energy is like the move. So me calling you out, dude, Branson was the one who showed me how to do that.
And now we got Branson here.
Now he's here.
Dude. Yeah, no, it was like, as much as I was like, dang, I don't know why that was like such a weird thing, but I'm like, I learned a lot, and I was like, okay, I need to figure out why he notices that I'm a wedding filmmaker versus not, you know? And so, I mean, it was definitely a great experience. I mean, overall, it was still fun being able to connect with everyone, and I had a lot of fun.
Oh, we had a blast.
It just made me more excited to be able to get into a different industry outside of weddings.
Yeah, and I mean, from there, you know, there's so many experiences, things that happen, but we got along so well, and both, you know, professionally, creatively, but also like personally, as friends, we started connecting that, you know, I'm like, hey, I want to hang out with this person, because if I'm at FilmLaab, away from my family, and the people I'm there with, I'm probably spending more time with every single week, every single day than I am my whole family. Then I want to really enjoy the people that I'm working with. You know, that hence why I work with my brothers, my sister, friends that I've known for a long time, Mike, who I've known he's a business partner I've known for 14, 15 years. And then you. Right? Somebody who quickly became one of my best friends. So it turned into this scenario where we'd have a job, we wouldn't have budget, and I'd call you. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, bro, straight up. Because, you know, back then we just never had any budget. But maybe there was a project that was worth your time, saying, hey, this can be a cooler one. Would you be willing to like come on and help? You helped with the Utah Jazz stuff, the first things we did with them, you know, some of those things. And as we started working together more and more, it just made sense. And then it finally, you know, we had the opportunity to bring you on full time, and it's been a wild ride. And, you know, the hard part with every situation with bringing on new team members who are also your friends is figuring out what's the working relationship look like every day, day to day. And then also identifying, you know, what are the things, like the skill sets that you naturally drift towards. Because most everybody at FilmLaab, for everybody listening, all the creatives are multidisciplinary creatives. We have probably been freelancers or done a lot of that work by ourselves. So we've done everything from script writing to general concepting, you know, creating our own shot list in our own way, producing it, you know, pulling together talent or locations or making a plan, actually filming the content while probably also directing, while probably also setting up lights and capturing our own audio, to then going through the entire editing process. And, you know, we've done some sales, we've done our own marketing, branding, whatever, right? So everybody on our team has done it all. But just like with everyone in the world, there are things that we naturally drift towards. And so, you know, obviously with you coming on, I was curious to see, because we're so similar in so many ways, you know, what is it that you're naturally going to be good at? You know, but when you first came on, we just had to pile you up with all the worst jobs.
The best jobs.
Hey, great answer.
Yeah. I mean, actually though, it was a great experience. Like, even though like you can say that they were really boring
We won't
jobs.
say names. We won't say names.
No. But they were really boring jobs and edits where I'm like, this is terrible. But they actually helped me be a lot more creative, because I'm like, one, it's not in the freelance world. It's like, I feel like it's my project, but now I'm like not having to, or I guess with, let me start all over. I guess with having some of these projects, I'm not just trying to make sure that I'm pleasing the client, but now I'm trying to please the client and making sure that it's good for the team, because it's not just about my image, but now it's about the image of the team. So it was a really good learning experience for me to go through some of the really boring stuff and trying to figure out, how do I make this look the best that I can?
Yeah, which you know, shows a lot of humility, because when you first came on, you know, we had to just dump all the boring stuff on you, because there had been guys who'd been there for a year or two longer who were maybe more experienced in our style, whatever. So we wanted to prioritize them getting those projects. So you had to take the ones that, maybe were a little bit more of the grunt work. But I think, like you said, you had the opportunity to figure out how to be more creative, and you had the opportunity also to like figure out the system, right? The way we organize our footage, how we back things up, the overlays, the techniques, the things that we use, the way we search for music, our process for revisions with clients, all that stuff. You had to kind of go through that. And, over the course of, you've been full time here for like a year and a half, but I'd say the last year, particularly more on the commercial side, as you continue to do that, you were willing to and started flying through more and more edits. But I found myself more and more needing a partner on the creative and directing side of things. And naturally, you have the gift of communication. You're able to rally people together, right? You're more of a leader. And so as you kind of leaned into that more, we've been able to become like sick collaborators, which is what I needed.
Yeah. No, I think that's been the great part about it is, one, just being best friends and being able to like hang out at work, but actually like build something and being able to be creative with each other, talking about, hey, this project's coming up. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And just being able to go back and forth. Because I will say, even in the freelance world, that is one of the things that's hard, is trying to be creative on your own. And there might be something where it's like, you might be fixated on something like, maybe it should look like this. When you have another person, they're like, hey, what about this? They have a different idea on something. And then you can actually go back and forth a little bit to actually make something great. And so that's what's been really fun about being able to be collaborative. I think this has been what's been fun for me, is communicating with clients, talking with you, and just using that creative side. I think that's kind of where I have really loved. At first, when I left the freelance world, I thought I was like, I want to be a DP. Like, I was like, this is what I'm going to be.
Oh, we all want to get that sick footage, man.
It's so funny because I'm like, really what I like at the end of the day. And it's funny because I didn't know, like, I thought it was, I want to be a DP. That's exactly what I want to be. And as we have worked on or as I've been here at FilmLaab, it's like, I've been able to see, like, I've been able to play different roles. And then I'm like, actually, I really like directing. I really love that creative process, whether it's pre-production, helping out with post, being on set. And I don't know, to me, that's where I feel like my passion lies.
Yeah. And you're also your natural gifts, right? I had the same experience where I wanted to be a DP because, we like getting beautiful footage. But then I had to start recognizing, what am I naturally good at? I'm not this crazy technical detailed person, right? I don't care about lighting. I also don't care to spend enough time tweaking the lights to make the image look perfect or whatever. When it gets 85, 90% of the way there, I'm like, good enough, let's go, right? But great DPs, they're very technical. They're very thoughtful. Grayson is that way. Branson is that way. Josh as well is that way, right? They're meticulous about the way they look at things. And hence, those are our guys who are our 3 DPs here at FilmLaab. Where you and I, the things we're more excited about is people, human emotion, running a team, helping get everybody on board with the story, and kind of that whole creative ideation process. We really enjoy that. Now, obviously, we want the footage to look good, but we're able to still have an impact on how it looks and how it feels through the story, through our direction, right? But then leave the real beautiful visuals to the guys who are just going to be a little more detail-oriented and more technical than we are.
Yeah. Now, I think, you said it. You need to make sure you're really going with your natural gifts. I think that sometimes you want to fight something else where you think, no, I really want to go this way. And I mean, maybe it does work for some people. But I think that's where, like, if I'm trying to be a DP, I can shoot, but then Grayson's going to make it look so much better than I can. And one of the things that for me, it's like, okay, I can direct, I can help Grayson with certain things, and he can help me with certain things. And it's like, it just makes it even better. So it's like, do you want something good or do you want something great? Right. And I think, leaning into your natural gifts, that's something that I've been able to do over the last year and a half, is finding that natural gift. And it's funny because it's like, I know I'm good at talking with people, but then with this career, it just took me a little bit to kind of figure out which area do I really want to try to go to. And the nice thing about it with you is that since you are the owner of FilmLaab, you're my boss. And I have to listen to what you say.
I hate that.
Dude, it's so funny.
I forget about that, and then somebody's like,
I don't even think about it.
Yeah, well, as my boss, I'm like, ugh, that sounds like such a. I don't like that.
It's funny.
Yeah,
like, even like today on set when I was trying to explain here, I'm like, yeah, Mitch, he is my boss, I guess. Yeah. No, but like you were able to like identify like, hey, this is what you're naturally gifted at. You should go down this route. And it's easy where it's like, or easier for me to be able to help lead a team, help people where they're needing help, I guess. I don't know. I love just the creative side. I love directing. And so it's just been fun, again, working with you and being able to
just lean into it, dude.
Really lean into it.
And I think it's been really made manifest in the last 6 months, right? That's where I think we were starting to get so busy that I wasn't able to give these productions the proper time, so I'd be kind of going on set and just trying with pure charisma and, I'm a pretty quick thinker and problem solver, but preparation beats natural talent and every single time. And so I wasn't able to put in the time. So you were able to step in more and more on directing and being part of these projects. So I think talking about the creative process is like really cool. And in particular, like the way that you and me have been able to collaborate and how it's helped us elevate the end product, but also make the experience on set just that much better, not only for our crew and our team, but also for the client. And again, I think in the past few months, we've made some of our best work ever. And I think it directly correlates to the creative and the pre-production that we've been putting in. So like kind of share what that process has looked like.
I think, one of the big projects that we were able to do this with is Spylt. And
that was probably the first time I felt like we did it right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done it right other times. But.
Yeah. I think that was like the first time that we've been able to spend a lot of time in the pre-production, which I feel like elevated that production. And I felt, or ever since then, we've been spending way more time in pre-production. It's like everyone knows it's important, and we knew it was important, but I don't think we spent as much time as we needed with previous projects until Spylt. And so with that, we did have someone that wrote the scripts for us.
The client actually did, Jason Gray from Studio C. And then we also worked with Mitch Winter on it too.
Okay.
So It was kind of a collaborative thing, which is sweet.
Yeah. So when we had the script, we were able to take that and say, okay, this is the direction that they're wanting to go. You filled me in with the client on what their expectations were, what they were kind of looking for. And yes, we sat in the Lightroom, we looked at the script, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit about different ideas, like what if he did this, or what if he kind of expressed it in this way.
Let me just interject really quick. So the script and the concept was we're pushing this out. Spylt was the client, and they make a caffeinated, protein-rich chocolate milk that's in a can. And
20
it's
grams of protein.
Delicious. 20 grams of protein, 60 milligrams of caffeine, 90 calories. Delicious. So Spylt. We also have a Spylt fridge, so come visit us sometime. You can try some Spylt.
They're great.
But the concept was, and it was around the holidays, Black Friday is when we released it, Thanksgiving week, and it was about Santa kind of just needing a little pick me up. He's like halfway through the night, maybe it's around 1 a.m, whatever, and he's just tired. He's been delivering presents all over the world. He walks in, he's like, oh, Cleveland's next. Like, I definitely need a pick me up for that. So he goes and he's kind of like looking for a drink. He's, spitting out some gross energy drinks. And then he gets introduced to Spylt. And from there, he chugs it. The energy's back. He's absolutely stoked and runs out the door ready to go deliver all the Christmas presents on Christmas Eve. So that was kind of the concept. There's some humor to it. We needed some great acting. And we were going to film this whole thing inside of a gas station. And the only way to film in a gas station was to do it overnight. So we literally shot. I think we got there at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And shot till 5 a.m., got back around 6 a.m. So it was crazy, and we knew it was going to be crazy. And so with all the shots we needed to get, we knew that we needed to spend a lot of time on pre-production, nailing down what the shots were, and the shooting schedule. So sorry I didn't interrupt, but like I feel like that's helpful.
No, I think that was definitely helpful. I mean, like even with that day too, we were showing up to location because it's a newer gas station. So it's something where I don't even think they were open yet. I think they were. I guess they had been open for, I think, pretty recent. But we went there earlier that day. I think it was like 2:00, and then we were scouting the location, going through, making sure that we had kind of the direction that we wanted to go. Hey, Santa's going to come in here, and then
we'll shoot back into this area.
Shoot back in here. And so that was part of the production or pre-production as well. But yeah, going into the actual sitting down and talking, the big things I think that helped us with that was making sure that we had a good shooting schedule. And I think the first time that we ever, at least that I know of having a good shooting schedule, was when we shot our reel with Brady Bissett, when he was explaining to us, hey, one of the ways that you're going to be able to save time is starting off with the wide shots and then moving into mediums and shooting into the tights. So, because you're having to move around the lights a lot. So with that, if you can shoot all the wides and keep the continuity great with those lights out on the wide, then move into the mediums, same continuity, and then the tights, you're bringing in those lights. And I kind of think with that concept, we've been doing that a lot more. And so
it was a huge mind shift because we used to shoot it all pretty sequentially, like as the story. But with that, you're doing a wide, then you cut into tight, and then back and forth, and it was just not efficient at all. Yeah,
and I think for me, that's why, like, anytime I've seen random little behind the scenes things, I'd see that they jump so many different scenes, or they'd be like, this is scene 1 and scene 4. And I was like, I don't understand why they did that. But now it makes way more sense to me because we took that concept and we brought it to Spylt. So while we're shooting Spylt, right, okay, when we start shooting in this order, how are we going to do it best so that we can save the most amount of time so that we can be most creative on set as well? Because I think that's one of the issues that we've always ran into is we started running out of time. So we're like, okay, if we're running out of time, we need to make sure that we go in with a game plan. And with that, we're like, okay, which order do we want to shoot this? Which areas do we want to shoot this? And then being able to, once we kind of established the areas that we were wanting to do that, we brought on our DP and said, hey, okay, what are for this shot, are you wanting to, because our DP was Josh. So we talked with him and we said, hey, for this one, what kind of gear do you need? Do you want to do we were kind of thinking in our minds, maybe this shot will specifically be a Zolly shot where we're having Santa drink the Spylt, and as he's drinking it, he gets all this surge of energy and this realization of how great this is. And so he's like, okay, this is going to take this amount of time. And so with us understanding, okay, this is actually going to take a little bit more time, we need to figure out where we can free up time in a different part of the shoot. Part of the issue of being creative is we start coming up with a whole bunch of different ideas, and it becomes an unrealistic thing. We're like, well, what if we do this and this and this?
Why are you smiling at me, bro? Why are you acting like that's me?
I don't know of anyone that has been more like, we've got 2 minutes. Okay, let's try to do this thing that's going to take 20 in 2 minutes.
I severely underestimate the amount of time something's going to take and overestimate our ability to pull it off. It's paid off. Yeah. But yeah, it definitely causes you some stress, dude.
Yeah. So I've been in charge of the schedule, and so I'm like, if we go behind, it starts costing us money because we have talent and we have different people that are on set that we're paying either by the hour or they have a certain hard stop. So it's like I got to make sure that everything goes right, so we're not spending money and then all of a sudden we're losing money.
That's right.
For a shoot.
It's happened. But yeah, so with the Spylt thing, obviously that schedule was really important. So I think the first shot we got was one of the last shots in the whole film of him just ripping all the stuff, all the Spylts out of the Spylt fridge and running out the door. And then we're shooting some of the first scenes with him walking through the front door. And again, we were just focused on the area, focused on how wide it was. And then we were able to kind of get creative within that. And it was super nice, super efficient. I mean, we moved the camera just a handful of times to different sections. And because we were so efficient with our time and the way that we structured it, we were then able to say, what if we shot inside of this fridge? What if we added some Spylts here to get a different perspective? What if we had him say alternate jokes instead of the ones just inside of the script, right? We were able to because we were so efficient with our time, it was actually able to give us more room to be creative because we weren't using all of our creativity to problem solve and fix all the little mistakes on set because we thought through that beforehand. How are we going to pull off the shot? What gear do we need? What is talent going to need to do? When are we moving camera? We'd thought through all of that before, so then we could be more creative in the moment to help elevate the piece as a whole. And I think that just made such a difference. Again, that pre-production process and that time that we put in led to a better experience on set. We got the shots we needed, so post-production was relatively straightforward. And then, the end result was freaking sick.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly what it is. It's our pre-production. We've been able to think ahead of time of saying, hey, what if this problem occurs? What if this problem occurs? Just thinking ahead in that spot as well as being able to be creative there so we can be more creative on set. That's one of the things that has been awesome because previously, again, it's been a lot of problem solving and it's just cool to have that done and out of the way where we're not having to think about that because it takes off so much stress. And I think that's a big thing too, is you can tell how much stress or how much pre-production you've done by how much stress you have on set. So it's like, if we've done a lot of the pre-production, I feel like our team has very high energy. Overall,
we're just having a blast.
Yeah, and I think normally, I don't know of really a shoot that we've had where it's been low energy. I feel like just generally we have very high energy, but it elevates it even more where we just have good team camaraderie and it's something where just everyone's helping out, hanging out, making jokes the whole time and feels pretty easygoing. And the times that we've had less pre-production, we start running out of time. We start having a little bit more stress. We're still having fun, but all of a sudden it's like, okay, no, we need to move a little bit quicker. We need to move quicker. And yeah, that's what I have really loved is our pre-production style that we have started building within the last 6 months.
It's been a big deal. And like you said, I think it lets our culture shine because, we're able to get BTS on set. We're able to show that in lab takes. We're able to have all these different experiences and everybody's having a better time. And so one of the things I wanted to highlight on before we end is like, I feel like you are a big part of FilmLab's culture. Right. And like the kind of experience that we want people to have with us, the type of vibes we have just as a team and stuff. And so like talk a little bit about like some of your favorite parts of like FilmLab, what we're doing here and like how you try to contribute to it. Because I think it makes a big difference. Like guys, you've seen Danny on the lab takes. If you've been in office, you've met him on set. He's a blast, right? But I think that has come because we've been really intentional about the type of people that we pull on, the type of activities that we do, the way we try to handle being on set or holding each other accountable or whatever. There's like a lot of things that contribute to the culture, and I think you're a huge part of that. So I mean, maybe just talk a little bit about the vibes here at FilmLab and how you try to contribute to it.
Yeah. I think one, it comes from the reason why we have this great culture is just, we have great people. It's not just me. I mean, we have so many amazing people on the team and everyone has a different personality, but at the end of the day, we all know we're on the same team where it's like, I can rely on anyone in the office and I know they're going to get it done. Yeah. And we built this trust through a lot of different days of working together. I think for me, the reason why I love to bring fun and exciting energy is because no matter what it is, even if we're on a stressful shoot with a stressful client, is because it's not life and death. And I think so many times we treat work as life and death. I've had the harder jobs. I mean, obviously coming from law enforcement where it can be life or death. But even in those moments, we were still joking, going to a call, just trying to have fun. And I think sometimes if we get too focused on a job and we start taking it way too seriously, the client knows, your team knows, and it becomes not fun. Yeah. That's one thing that I think helped from coming from a freelance world is I'm having to do everything by myself as a freelancer where I'm having to talk to the client, I'm having to edit, I'm having to shoot, I'm having to direct, is that I realized the clients that stayed with me is because they had a good client experience. And so if we want to build a team that stays together for a long time, it's we need to make sure we have good culture. We need to make sure that they have a great experience from pre-production to on-set to post-production here in the office to even just knowing that they can reach out to whoever. With the client, they need to make sure that they have a great experience from pre-production to on-set to post-production. And I think that's what a lot of people forget is that, oh, I can shoot really great. I'm like, that's awesome. If you shoot really great and you're an ass, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
If you shoot very average, but you are super fun to be around, I want to have you on the team. I want you to hang out with us because it's like, I know that the more that you start shooting and the more that you get that experience, you're going to get better eventually. So it's like, I think it's very important to have good team morale. I know there's like that weird stigma of film culture can have weird, like, oh, this is my area. Don't talk to me. Like, and I don't like that. I love being able to talk with everyone. I love everyone joking around, having a good time because we have long days. I mean, our longest day, I think, was what, close to 30 hours.
Yeah, I mean, well, we did have a 2-hour COD and nap break in between, but yes, it was a long stretch.
Yeah, and so it's like when you're gonna have these long hours with people, you want to be with people that you have fun with. You want to have a good time, or else it's gonna be very, very long days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a great culture where it's like everyone on the team plays Call of Duty. We have random breaks where it helps us not have to be creatively burnt out, and we get to play Call of Duty for a little bit, and then we come back for a lot of bit, and then we come back. No, but it's fun. Like that's another way where we bond. It's not just, hey, you're just playing Call of Duty. Really what it is it's a team bonding experience, and we have that every day.
Right.
And everyone gets excited about these random brackets that we have. And when you're watching lab takes, if you're ever questioning, like, is this actually really how it is? Because I think there's sometimes where people will see something, they're like, but that's probably not how it really is. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's really how it is. Like, it is joking, it's hanging out. As soon as you and I it was, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but like our culture is so good that I'm on set directing and you're at the office, and you call me and you start talking to me about work stuff. You started talking to me about
like, what are you up to today?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was at first you called me about some work stuff, hung up, but then you called right back and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, what are you doing right now? I'm like, I'm on set. You're like, oh yeah, no. What are you doing after work? Do you want to come over and hang out? And so it's just like, it's always so fun where we're not, again, so serious about work. And I think, yeah, that's what people need to do is just have fun with work. The whole reason why we got into this is because we're all passionate about it. We're all passionate about being creative. And when we're passionate about something, we should be excited and have fun with it. We sometimes forget that there's like that weird route where at first you love it and all of a sudden it becomes work. And then maybe you start to love it again, but then it's work. And I think, yeah, with us, we've just found a way where we love work. That's why so many guys will stay later than they need to be.
Yeah.
We do it. We really do a lot of times 9 to 5, but you'll still have people here like, hey, I just want to hurry and get this done so I don't have to worry about it later, or so-and-so doesn't have to worry about it. And that's
Branson's been here late every single night this week.
The podcast team. The podcast team is late all the time.
All the time.
But
shout out Tal, Nate, and Keanu.
They're amazing.
Austin's staying late right now.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think to your point, it's because the culture that we've built is we care about you. We're going to give you the time and the space and the energy to do your things. But, obviously what we're building here together is important. And because we all have such a great relationship, I want to stay later. I want to go the extra mile because I don't want to put that weight or pressure on you or on Branson or Grayson or Mike, right? I want to be able to do my part to lift my responsibilities and not have to put that on you. And at the same time, though, if you need to bounce, you're going to Hawaii, I'm taking time to go to Cape Town. Everyone in the team is willing to jump in and support each other. And that's just like such a beautiful thing. And like you said, it doesn't mean just because we're joking around, just because we're having fun, that we're not taking our job seriously. I think it actually keeps our cortisol levels down, keeps our stress down, and it helps us be more creative. It helps us be more efficient. It helps us be more effective on set. And so the creative culture we have tried to develop is one of trust, of collaboration, and of fun. And as we've done that, again, our projects are getting better and better. And we've had some incredibly talented people work here in the past. But time and time again, it hasn't worked out and it hasn't been a culture fit and they've left. And it's not because they aren't good or it's not because whatever, but maybe they couldn't catch the vision or maybe the culture wasn't the right fit. And over time, we've been able to continue to refine. The team we have right now is the best it's ever been. So, and I think you've been a huge part of that. So
thank you.
Big ups to you, bro.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, no, I think like the main takeaway, and that I hope that everybody listening at home has kind of taken away, is how important it is to identify what you're truly good at, what you're gifted at, lean into that, and then be willing to be a student of the game. And that's the other thing that like I want to shout you out is you had to eat humble pie for time to learn different things to, not that I had that much more to share, but I've just directed more commercials and I've made more mistakes over the years. And so it's crazy how quickly you've been able to step into this position, this role, and surpass me in so many ways creatively and as a director because you took the time to learn it and do it properly. And now, I feel like we're doing great. So it's pretty cool to pull back the curtain and see how far it's come. And like, I'm stoked to see where we're at in a couple years.
Oh, it's going to keep growing. We're going to keep elevating.
That's right. Okay, so last question in the last 2 minutes. What is a project or a creative endeavor or something that you want to do that if time, money were no object, what would you create and why?
Man, it's funny because it's like there's two different things with that. I'm like, I would love to create a Red Bull type video. Like I think Red Bull videos are so fun. Like it's like this epic thing that you don't really think about. Like there's so much creativity behind that, not just an athlete themselves, but like going, okay, what if we have this athlete go do X, Y, and Z? What if they're skateboarding in a hot air balloon? I think something like that would be really cool to do.
The mountain biker on the train?
Yeah.
Jumping as the train moves?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's not like the athlete does that all the time. So it's like you have to have this creative concept of saying, what if we do this? And I think that's what makes Red Bull feel so elevated is that they have this, let's push the limits to like what we think is possible. Let's come up with something that is not a normal thing, but we have someone doing. And I think to me that would be really cool. And another would be making some type of movie. No idea what. I really love thriller movies. Mm-hmm. And so something that's like this suspenseful thriller type movie could get into sci-fi. I don't know, something. So they're like, I feel like they're two extremes where it's like maybe one like type of epic commercial with
entertainment,
Red Bull. Yeah. Or another like sci-fi thriller, like the movie Signs, if you've ever seen that. I think that movie is great.
Yeah.
And so I would love to make something like suspenseful where it's like you just kind of remember those little movies like that. I don't know.
I love that, dude. Well, hey, the goal here is for us to eventually be doing that kind of stuff. So who knows? Who knows what the next couple of years are going to bring? But I appreciate you coming on, dude. Obviously, we're going to have you on more about more specific topics. And in the future, I think it'd be really cool for us to like take time to break down particular productions like we kind of did today with Spylt, the things that we're learning, the experience we're having. Like, it's just cool. And you're such a big part of that. So
thank you.
Appreciate you, bro. But anyway, I hope you guys are able to take away some stuff from this, kind of learn from the experiences, and then just get to know Danny, who is a huge part of our team, has made such a big difference here. So shout out to you, Danny. Shout out to everybody listening. And thanks for watching the latest episode of PMOP. We'll see you in the next one.